and the window was open on the train so that you could lean out of it as it's going along. Make sure you don't go under a bridge.
There was a sign that said, "Don't lean out the window."
A sign coming towards you, 80 miles an hour.
With James's heritage objects from years gone by, I daren't really handle them in case I do something.
I don't know why
wrong.
I hand them to you, Andy. I'll be honest.
You shouldn't really. I can't be trusted.
It's time to adjust those shoulder pads, backcomb what's left of your hair, and jump into the DeLorean for a look back at what's possibly the best decade anyone could ever have grown up in.
Shall we play a game?
This is Bring Back the 80s with your hosts James Alderson and me, Andy Jackson.
I don't know if you can hear that, but that is the sound that the ice cream van has just run out of ice creams. It's always the way. You're making a right old mess of that, James, there.
I know. I'm so excited by the ice cream machine.
So that was the thing of what's that? Your parents would tell you the ice cream van's here, but standard tale is that they only play that music when they've just run out.
That's what they said. Well, welcome to episode. What is it?
This is episode 10. Series 2
by the ice cream van, and we were like, what?
That's what 99 is coming to us. So episode 10, series 2. James, you're even more covered in plasters than you were last time around. Where have you been playing? What have you been doing?
I didn't want to have these plasters on, but I did nip back home to get one of the frozen lollies from the freezer that I put in yesterday, and my mum insisted she cleaned me up because I had mud and dirt. I grazed my hands, got gravel in my hands. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Gravel and a bit of glass, of course.
Always.
Well, some glass, because some idiots have been there at night time and smashed bottles. And I did my elbow in, scuffed that going down the slide in hot summer. Also burnt me back when it's some sort of the heat of Venus on that slide. Everyone's sliding down in shorts and no top on.
They must have, it's scaldingly hot.
Yeah.
People must have had skin grafts because of the temperature of the slides. Well, think back to, hot summers.
Yeah.
And it would be too hot to touch.
You either went down those slides at about 100 miles an hour or you went just shimmying yourself down them because it was so cold and it wouldn't shift. And you were there in your rubber shorts. Maybe not. I don't know. But you were anything that would help not be very... would be full of friction, something, and you'd come out and you'd touch someone and because you slid down something. So I've injured myself quite badly, but I've had good fun. That's the main thing.
That is the main thing. You survived and you've learnt never to do those things again.
No, that's right. I did, though. I got some bad news. I did lose the Araby in a tree, so I've got another one, a different one there.
It's a slightly smaller one.
Thank you. As you get older, it does get smaller, apparently. So this is, how much was that on there?
On the price it says $4.95.
Yeah. So that is over £20 in 1986. That came out a year later.
That's crazy.
One.
Yeah.
So if I said to my dad, "Can I have a 20 quid frisbee?" he told me to go and buy one myself. Probably. It's So they reduced it. They reduced the size of them because it's a sport version or a sprint version. I think they called it Araby Sprint, which means, I don't know what, it's cheaper for them, but same price for us. And it went how far? How far did it throw?
This one flies for more than 500 feet.
Well, that's bigger than any playground you're ever going to go
with
to.
incredible ease. And this is, like you say, these are the ones that would just get lost.
Yeah, across the
up
car
the top
park,
of the tree,
over the motorway, into a different town. I bought you a second one, so don't say I don't get you.
Try not to
lose
this one. Yeah. This was, I suppose, this could have been almost like I remember losing a drone in recent years.
Yeah.
So losing one of these would be like losing a drone as you see it disappear, maybe caught by the wind,
and someone goes, no,
never be seen again.
Yeah, and then it might hit someone with those rainbow coloured roller skates. Do you remember they were blue velvet, and then they had the yellow, red, and white sort of rainbow on the sides.
When rainbows were just rainbows, there's no.
You weren't representing anything.
No.
Didn't mean anything. You weren't meaning.
So careful. I'm not even going to try
it back.
Put that back in. I daren't. The thing
going on?
I daren't with James's heritage objects from years gone by. I daren't really handle them in case I do something wrong. I don't know why
I hand them to you, Andy. I'll be honest.
You shouldn't really. I can't be trusted.
Such nonchalance.
Don't know the value of these things.
Well, no. Well, apparently I don't either. So I'm spending a fortune on my wife's buying. Why are you buying this shit? So it's, you had things that you can play with. Obviously, playing out was all about a bit of a bit of imagination, a bit of free fun, a bit of just not messing about with your buddies. But there were things you could buy: a skateboard, very popular, of course, and the frisbee and roller skates, and well, you probably knew a kid, probably one of those sticks with a ring just to push along the road.
Oh yeah, back in those days, yeah. After he finished feeding the horses,
to avoid the horses, dangerous back then. But they didn't do white poos, so they did big brown steaming ones. But yeah, so I mean, roller skates were one of those things we spoke about in previous episodes where you could afford those sort of sandal-like ones,
the ones that strapped on,
where you were definitely ending up in A&E, or just couldn't walk properly for a few weeks. And but the velvety ones for a beginner kid, they were very popular. Very popular.
I remember having a pair of those. We're going roller discoing.
Oh, God.
Roller disco.
That was a treat.
Yeah.
Going and to the kids that would fly past you backwards, weaving their feet between themselves.
How could they do that?
I'd be trying to stay upright, and he's flying past me, and I just saw a blur of Brill Cream and Lynx Africa go past me, and just like he's going to get all the ladies because he's going backwards, and I couldn't even stand up.
You could spend hours and hours and hours there doing that. And I did have another go at roller discoing, maybe about 3 or 4 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
When my kids said, "Oh, let's try this." It's so much hard work.
It is. Our age as well.
Yes,
Good
so
cause,
much
Gone.
hard work. But back then, you didn't have any issues. You could just be doing it for hours and hours and hours on end.
And you'd fall and you go, whoops.
Yeah.
Now I fall and go, oh no.
Yeah.
Something's just bust there. Something's broken. I just fall on my arse and broken my arse. I would hold the side. I don't mind a bit of ice skating.
Yeah.
And that wasn't ever a thing. I don't remember ice skating back in the 80s. There was the old ice rink maybe randomly, but I never went. They were for experts. But yeah, hold the sides, I could do that. But when you got 4 wheels involved, I was all right with a skateboard, but roller, 2 feet and 8 wheels, no thanks.
No. I've just realised another thing actually, that we were trying to come up with ideas of what we did do. Going to the swimming baths, was a big deal.
Lido maybe.
Yeah. And I can remember when I was in London, it was like a good sort of 2 bus rides away to get to the swimming baths that we went to. But once you were there, again, a whole day of just swimming backwards and forwards. There were none of these inflatables.
No.
There was the only thing that might be vaguely entertaining was getting one of those bricks, dropping it in and recovering one of the bricks from the bottom, the black rubber bricks.
Very safe.
Or perhaps blowing up your trousers, your pyjama trousers as well, to make a flotation.
Is that kid in his pyjamas again? What's he doing back
make
there?
Make a flotation device. But you could spend a whole day at the swimming baths, and then coming out and have one of those hot chocolates out of the machine
with a bit of vegetable soup in it.
A bit of vegetable soup in it. Yes,
they were cream with a bit of brown and orange buttons.
Yes,
and they were called clicks or something.
That was the ones. Yeah,
and that was what you had afterwards. You might get a bag of Wotsits, and there'd always be Space Invaders machine sat there with the viewing gallery looking over the pool for parents who came, or that bloke who was getting a bit cold in the playground. A bit cold in the playground. I'm going to go watch the kids swimming. Oh my God. Yeah. And they didn't have to pay, so you could get in and just watch the kids. Fucking hell. One single guy just sat there and his Mac. But the thing is, swimming pools were so busy, and it's a very good point, Andy. Swimming pools were so busy, you had to wear wristbands.
Yes.
So they'd blow and go orange out, red out. Now, I've been to swimming pools a few times just to watch, and and there is barely anybody in there.
Yeah.
Maybe in the summer holidays there will be, and they get the odd school trip in there, but it's not packed out.
I think it's the themed ones are, if you go down the road to Romsey and you go to Romsey Rapids or anything, that is just hell on earth in the busy times.
Carnage,
where you cannot move.
No,
you just cannot move. But like you say, that would a normal swimming bath with nothing going on would have been as packed as that.
Yeah, and there were Lidos. I guess you might have had them in London, but there was one at Hilsey and stuff, and you could go down there and by then they were a little bit tired because they came about in the 30s, 40s, and 50s, didn't they? These outdoor swimming bars. So by the 80s, it was all a bit, you were swimming with rubble. So it was, and there wasn't that much going on. But when it was warm in the summer, and it was we did have seasons back then, if you remember.
Yes.
It was generally quite guaranteed to be quite warm. You'd go and you'd have a swim about and burn to a crisp with your mates and just a towel under your arm, and off you'd waddle.
Because you actually got the actual sea as well, not a million miles away from us as well. So you could go for a swim there with the added advantage because you got the pier, the arcades afterwards.
I mean, if you found some money, or if you were lucky to have some money that was, a pound coin strapped to the inside of a card from your nan, then you could go down and find an arcades. But you didn't have to go to the pier for an arcade. If you were playing out in your local town, every street had an arcade full of computer games all lined up down everyone. You'd have a Pac-Man, and you'd have a Space Invaders, and maybe an Outrun and things like this. Just, if you had some money and you had a bit of time when you're bored at the playground, go down to the local high street. There'd be a little unit full of lovely little arcades.
See, those games have now come to our homes. We don't even have to go out to be able to play those games now. You don't have to play out at all. I think there is almost no such thing as leaving kids on their own to go and play out.
No.
Because it is dangerous. There are pedos around. There are dangers around every corner.
Yeah, but maybe the innocence of the 80s was better, you see. It's better not to know these things sometimes and just crack on and try and enjoy
The government
yourself.
knew best. The government taught us
to be scared.
To be scared of everything.
Yes.
Here we go with another one.
Should we do the mystery sound first? Let's do the mystery sound first. Scared of mystery sounds.
Every time.
Arcades.
What is it with part two?
I don't know.
It just
we'll
never
get
works.
used to it. Since we've gone weekly,
I know.
we're so excited.
It's the stress.
It's the stress.
It's the stress of
excitement,
doing
I
it.
thought. No.
So anyway, that was our mystery sound.
Yeah.
So here's another government safety information.
Is this a government safety information clip? Is it?
Here we go.
He's got a bloody Araby. Oh no, he hasn't.
Go on, get it. We're not supposed to go in there. Oh, go on. There's a gap down there. A gang of kids broke in yesterday. I saw them. Pass me that bit of wood.
A 66,000-volt shock killed a boy today when he broke into a substation. The electricity board warns children to keep away from substations. Never try to get toys back yourself. Otherwise, you may not live to play with them again.
Slight overkill.
I love the way that there's a bloke there that can help them.
Yes.
So because that's back in the day of the park wardens and the park.
Well, he was obviously
caretakers.
somebody who was doing the, like he would have been working in the substation.
But a permanent employee.
And he was actually, he looked like I actually had an Uncle Tom who actually, his job was doing substations. God only knows exactly what he did.
Yeah.
But he always used
got
to
frisbees.
He always used to, he had the exact same overalls.
Yeah.
And exact same sort of glasses and
Yeah, of
things.
course.
And that was his job. Was
government issue.
Obviously to rescue the frisbees.
The frisbee
from
returner.
Yeah.
I mean, you would go to a park or a playground or a tennis court or something like that, and there'd be a guy who lived in the house in the corner of the park who would then come out and go, "Don't do that," or 50p, or "Get off." Those classic lines. But I love the way that they broke in there, and neither kid were worried about what he was doing. They were worried about who was around to see them doing what they were doing. They were looking over their shoulders, looking around. Before he reached for it, he looked around as if to say, "Someone's going to catch me and tell me off." There's a reason someone's going to catch you and tell you off. You're just about to fry yourself, you idiot. So, Jimmy, bless him. If he'd had an Araby, that wouldn't have got wedged there. Because he's got a hole in the middle, would have fallen straight off.
Oh, that would have been perfect.
Yeah, if only he'd had that £5.
But it does seem to me with a lot of these safety information films, a lot of them were based around kids playing in substations. We were so bored that the only place to go, I suppose anything behind a locked door or whatever, is there. But they've still got the signs there on the things. But I love the fact they've always got them in the Comic Sans font on there that says if you see anybody playing in here, it shouldn't be. But they always use the Comic Sans font for that.
A little casual.
A little casual
Keep
thing.
it loose.
Keep it, just in case.
Yeah, I mean, you don't see a substation these days. Where have they put them? I don't know.
They're little ones, aren't they? They're small.
None of those
ones,
big ones.
Not the huge, great ones.
Daleks rising out of the ground. No, I don't know. Not as common as they used to be.
No. So where have they put them then? Are they all underground or something?
Oh, they're not needed, are they? It's all a conspiracy, Andy.
I suppose maybe we get our electricity from Europe or something. It all comes in.
Oh, that's it. We import it. That's it. We don't make our own power anymore, mate. That's the problem. Hey, Brexit or something.
Yeah, it was definitely substations. Maybe that's why they've put them down and hidden them away.
Yeah.
So many kids died.
Stupid idiots.
Playing, getting their footballs and their frisbees
and kites
and their kites and that.
And their brothers.
Whether you day anything, if there was anything that could be thrown, that is going to end up in the substation.
I know you couldn't kick a ball without hitting a substation back in 1986.
So things have moved on, because you are right. You don't see as many substations around now.
No, so it's the same as you don't see as many people with AIDS. It's the same thing. We've moved on from the 80s. There's less AIDS and there's less substations, mate.
But more pedos.
Thank God. What? Oh no! Don't edit that the wrong way. More pedos, thank God. No, we've got rid of them. We've got them off the telly, most of them. And we've got them out of the parks, and kids can enjoy themselves. Unfortunately, though, the kids are in their rooms playing computers.
Yeah.
So we've sort of fixed it all just out of time.
It's always the way of the world, isn't it? But so we did swimming, a day at the beach, in the arcades, chip shop as well. It's always, if you had the perfect day, it would always end with perhaps chippy chips on the way home,
and a shandy bass or a panda pop, or one of those little cup of drinks things, lovely, great. And you'd share a bag of chips, and there would be a newspaper.
In proper newspaper, yeah.
You wouldn't get them in normal paper. Don't get me wrong, I don't mind a normal bit of paper, because you don't get black all over your hands to show that you've had some chips. Tell the tale. Where have you got the money for chips? So Terry had some. It was actually a newspaper, which had a special something to it. You could read about the world whilst you're eating your fast food. But yeah, I mean, never made the chips black, did it?
Never did. No, don't know.
Hot chips.
Of course, the fish and chip shop was one of the few takeaway options there were. There was no chicken shops.
No.
There was no chicken shops. There was a wimpy perhaps for a
pizza
treat.
Parlours,
whatever.
Were there?
There was no pizzas. There was no
kebabs.
You were limited to maybe Chinese.
Yeah.
Perhaps an Indian.
Yeah. Sometimes.
They were just beginning to become a thing, I think.
Yeah. Chip shops.
Chip shops were the staple.
You ended up with Greasy Spoon, but you couldn't get your food out from there, could you? You had to eat it in there. Chip shops were the thing, and they were open from sort of 12 till 1:45, and then 5 till about 7.
Yeah.
So if you went out late at night and you wanted some chips, it's not happening. Unless you were in a big city, of course.
Even then, there was not the amount. Because you go to some places now, it's just every single shop is now selling food of some description.
I know.
And it's going to be...
You can't bloody stop. So attractive.
But it's just, I suppose maybe that's why we're all getting to be the shape and size that we are.
Which is
James.
Just as well we're in these wonderful comfy chairs.
Right, safety information films. Let's have a look and see if we're going to be up a pylon for this one.
Oh, God.
You never know. Here
Not
comes another one for us.
Hello, love. Not one of these?
No, thanks.
Come on, jump in.
No, thanks. Just put them off.
Okay. Remember, kids, always say no to strangers.
Say no to strangers. Always.
Yeah.
Keith Chegwin doing the voiceover on the end of that as well.
Was it?
So Down with the Kids. And I recognised the actor from something, but I couldn't tell you who he was. So if you're watching this, you can tell us who that actor is.
Because that's the thing. These days you would be tarnished with that.
Yeah.
If you were the pedo of the advert, you're not going to rock up on bloody. You know what I mean?
No, you're not going to be in EastEnders, are you? No.
He's Professor Pedo. He can't have that. So that's a brave move.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just thinking that when I was watching him. Yeah, he's definitely recognisable.
He's been in something. So if you know please tell us what his name is and what he's been in, because I couldn't figure that out. But with the voice, it was definitely Keith Cheggers.
Yeah,
getting the Radio 1 kids, I guess, to
listening in. The thing, what's made me realise why it was so prolific in the 80s, and I suppose we shouldn't really dwell on it a huge amount, but it was a big risk when you're playing out, was there were a lot of men in mobile vehicles, mobile shops, mobile ice cream vans, mobile video vans. There were a lot of men driving around selling stuff on the move. So I guess mobile sweet shops, there was such a thing, the mobile grocers, there were things that they would pull up and they would sell their wares, and it would be a bloke, never a woman. And so I think that as a kid, it was so available that there was this guy, and he gives you things, sells you things. I've seen Mum buy things from a guy in a van. So they've got to advertise, don't go near that bloke, and it was contradicting what we were so used to seeing, rushing to a guy selling things to kids or to your mum and dad. So I guess they had to really push it that don't go there.
Again, that was the thing, though, that it was the government teaching us not to talk to strangers, rather than, I don't ever, like I say, apart from the one time where my parents told me there was a strange man in the park, not to go to that particular corner of the park. The rest of the park was fine. Don't play anywhere else. He's not
10 feet of him.
He's going to be fine. But it was more low key from your parents than it was perhaps from the government.
Oh God, I don't remember it being a thing talked about. Not really. Everybody's estate had an odd guy and an angry lady. Get this ball out, or they'd throw you your ball back, but it would have a knife in it. Like that. Here's your ball back, twats. And so you lose your ball in there, and you're not getting it back because you smashed a greenhouse 4 years ago. And she's angry ever since, and she's got a very angry dog in there. They're usually a Doberman or a Rottweiler or something that was a proper dog that was angry all the time. You'd have always a very angry old lady. Maybe she lost her husband 10 years ago. She's never recovered, and she's never taken her hair out rollers. And she always wears an apron, even though she doesn't have to clean her house because she lives on her own. So angry. She used to be nice, though, her mum said back in the day. But now she's angry. And a dodgy bloke who lives on his own, and every now and again you see him, but don't go near him. So,
and the school I went to, the primary school I went to, there was the school playground. There was a very small chain link fence that was between us and the bungalows that the old people used to live in. And there were, you knew if you did lose a ball or whatever, something went over the fence to one side. It was prefabs, actually. There were people living in prefabs when prefabs were a thing. And I think they still are in some places, but you would always know that if it went into that garden, you're never ever going to see it again. There'd be like a collection of hundreds of footballs and various items that had got lost in there, never to be seen again. But all the other ones would be fine. It was always a Mr. Grumpy old bloke that would never give you your things back.
And the problem is, if they didn't help themselves, for some reason, whether it was mental health or whatever reason it was, the old dear or the guy were grumpy and angry. But by not giving the balls back, they end up with all sorts in their gardens. Rocks through the greenhouses, stones through their lean-tos, knock on the doors, their milk bottles smashed, whatever it was, chalk painted all over the pavement. Whatever they could do was a dare. That was a big thing. I dare you. I dare you to go into Mr. Grumpy's and rip up his flowers and run out or something. Because he was antagonising the kids. Just be nice to kids, and it usually works.
And then you don't be too nice to kids.
Don't give them sweets.
No sweets.
Just
no
be
puppies,
nice.
None of that. I'm talking about the chalks as well. And we were saying that there was a thing where all the pavements were always covered with chalks. Things like that. Apparently, you can actually be done for that now.
Oh, nice.
If you actually write on the pavement in chalk, you can have a community officer can come around and actually do you.
Sounds to be a fine thing
for writing on the pavement in chalk.
Well, maybe if there's a proper crime committed that they won't come to, get your kid to write in chalk in the pavement outside, and then the police will turn up, they'll sort you out with the chalk and might help with the actual crime that's been committed.
You never know.
Fingers crossed.
You never do know.
Or if you're going to do chalk, do it in a bus lane, and then they'll come twice as quick because you shouldn't be in a bus lane. I don't know, but maybe it's tipped a little bit the way that they're on top of us these days. It's not about AIDS, and it's not about climbing into an electric substation. chalk writing on pavements. That's the big crime of the century.
Because you did mention bus lanes. There was no such thing as bus lanes, was there, back then?
Well, hopping on a bus was pretty standard. You'd get on a bus. I mean, my boys, I think, might have been on a bus sporadically, randomly, but it's not typical. Most buses that go past my house have got one person sat on them. But you hop on a bus. That was pretty standard. Hop on a moving bus. That was quite common.
It was. It actually was, wasn't it? Especially in London, where we had the double deckers with the no doors, no health and safety, and you would just, if it was moving off and you got there, you would chase the bus and jump on it.
Get out of a moving train. That was a common thing. If I would get out with a big backpack on and I'd jump out whilst the door was, because you meant to leave the doors open, really, jump out, the door would swing open, the heaviest doors that have ever been made. If they hit someone, they're dead. Forget the train, the door would hit someone, and the window was open on the train so that you could lean out of it as it's going along. Make sure you don't go under a bridge.
There was a sign that said, "Don't lean out the window."
A sign coming towards you, 80 miles an hour, and another train was coming. But you do it, and you're just like, "Oh, this is cool." And you jump out of a moving train with your backpack on, so you could get a head start on the way to school or something. But bus conductors obviously stopped you just abusing the system and hopping on a bus and just riding for free as a guy wandering about a bus. But playing out and getting a bit of free travel was always handy.
Yes. Now then, before we come to the end of this episode, who knows what's going to come next? Because we never know quite what's coming next.
It's a surprise always to us.
Look, it's another pylon.
I can't be. Is he fixing the fence, is he?
Look, over there, there's a football.
Oh, bloody football this time. Stop playing at the substation, you shits.
Hang on, mate. This place is electrified. That's a fighting little kid.
Danger of death. Told you.
Don't touch anything. I've seen people working up there. Yeah, well, I don't particularly want to mess around with this type of stuff. It's not working. You're just scared of getting a score.
Is that the same fence?
I think it is. I think they go back every time. Yeah, it's always built around the same place.
There's a new sign though.
Yeah. Oh, you see different budget. Yeah.
Darren!
No.
Where's he going? Don't touch him.
No,
Oh.
Danger. It's a bit late now.
Stay safe. Stay out. Don't take a chance with electricity.
It's not worth it. Go for gas every time. Gas.
You never actually had kids playing out on the gasometers, though, did you?
No.
It was never a thing.
Those big gas tanks.
Big things, yeah. You never. That's another thing that you don't see those anymore now.
No, they used to have one in Emsworth. It was a huge one behind the houses there. Where's the gas? Oh, because we're importing the gas.
Oh, it's coming from
pipes from Russia,
yeah.
innit? Yeah,
yes, that's why.
Bloody Brexit.
So it was another electricity substation thing.
Yeah,
and maybe they just had a budget for electricity substations, and they did the football, they did the frisbee,
and the
kite.
Yeah, those kids haven't been watching the adverts, have they? No. They were, who can we use? Who hasn't got a telly? Yeah. Get them in and kick a ball in that substation. Yeah. So is it time for my surprise?
Time for a surprise. Let's find out if it's time for a surprise.
I think you'll enjoy this one. Now, this one, if you have a little fondle in your lunchbox, you're very, very common. Very, very. It's not that. It's a mystery lunchbox surprise. And this is. I mean, these should really be wrapped in cling film, but I wanted them to stay fresh.
Okay.
So if you give me one, I know you wanted to scoff a lot yourself, but it's fine. And if you open this up, it's lovely, isn't it? Bit of foil. These were so common at school fairs usually, or you bring it back for your mum and dad.
Yeah,
you make this. It's a bit of school cake. Proper school cake. Yeah, with hundreds and thousands. And if it was made in school, it would have all sorts in it. It wouldn't just be sponge.
Oh, I can't.
When you were 5, some kid had put the bogies in it and all sorts. But it's very close.
That's not bad at all.
I think the hundreds and thousands used to be bigger. I don't think they used to be quite so tiny, but it wasn't quite as. It's not quite the same, but it's very close.
Yeah.
Now available.
A tray cake
from Aldi.
Really?
And they call it school cake.
That's good.
But it must have been the easiest way to decorate. To just put a bit of something sticky stuff I don't know what it was, syrup or something on the top of the sponge. Sprinkle your things. Usually they were circular, weren't they?
Yes.
The little cupcake things.
Yes.
Now they're in like a tray. But yeah, I saw this and I thought, yeah, that's definitely 80s. Because they make it now. You go around to school fair, they're still making them. That's how popular it was. Very simple. And they call it school cake. And I just love it. I just think it was such a memory. I didn't have like domestic science, whatever the hell they call it these days. I didn't have those sorts of classes at my school. But sporadically, there would be some sort of cake making. I don't know why. Biology. I don't know what lesson it was relevant to. Yeah, the school cake.
Would you have these with custard sometimes? Bit of the pink custard on the side.
Yeah, not with the sprinkles on, but a bit of sponge like that.
On the
Sponge
side,
and custard.
yeah. It was always weird coloured custard as well with the school dinners. It was
Pink.
never, it was either pink or, if you were really, really lucky, chocolate custard day.
Yes, chocolate custard, yeah. No, so I think the school cake or cake with hundreds and thousands. I mean, hundreds and thousands. If you had something pretty plain and ice cream, chuck some hundreds and thousands on it and you felt like you were a millionaire. Hundreds and thousands on anything.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Really good. Of course, that's reminding me as well, there seems to be a lot more school jumble sales back then as well, where kids would, is it still a thing where people bring in food that they've made from home and sell? The rule is obviously never eat any strangers' food, ever.
Especially not if kids have made it.
No.
Yeah. Kids would bring it back in the 80s. They'd bring it, still do now, I'm sure. Bring it back home and go, Mummy, I've made this. You're like, what have you made?
And who's helped you make it, more to the point?
Yeah,
so
who's been watching it whilst you made it, please? And not put anything in it unnecessarily. Bit of chalk in there. Tasty. I've still got it stuck in my teeth. It's lovely.
It's so good. So good.
Bit of school cake.
So Aldi.
Yes, go to Aldi and knock yourself out with some hundreds and thousands school cake and get yourself some chalk and an Araby whilst you're there.
Just before we come to the end of this episode as well, there's strong rumours that we might be doing an outside edition of this as well. Are we saying where we're going to do it from just yet or not?
I think we'll keep it as a teaser, but it'll be a short little episode, mostly probably of us eating. So if you don't like the eating sound effects, don't tune in.
It will be a place that you will remember from your 80s days, 100%, and we're going to try to recreate some of those times. The TV AM clock says it's time to leave now.
Yeah, I think before we shoot, that was always a good one. TV AM, found this clock from the studios, and obviously you get up to TV AM, you watch a bit of Wide Awake Club or Whack-A-Day or something, Roll and Rat, all that stuff, have your cereal, and off you go and play out.
Off to play out for the day.
Yeah.
And on that lovely note of days gone by, we say thank you for watching, thank you for listening as well. If you're on YouTube, don't forget to hit the little thing to get a notification so that you know when we bring out our new episode every single week as well. And if you've liked this edition of the Bring Back the 80s podcast, do share it with one other person.
Please.
And that will help us make it bigger and better than it possibly ever has been.
We're rapidly approaching 500 subscribers, Andy.
We rapidly are, aren't we?
It's wonderful.
Rapidly approaching
Thank you.
that. And over 500,000 views in total as well. So thank you very much for helping us with that. On the Twitter and the YouTube and the TikToks. We're all over the place.
I'm your fan
as well. Yeah. Very, very niche, James.
It is.
Very, very niche.
Mostly us two and Max, isn't it?
We'll see you next Tuesday.
Thanks for listening to this week's edition. We'd love it if you could subscribe in your favourite podcast app. And don't forget there's a video version on YouTube too. You can contact us using the links in the show notes and on the YouTube channel. And we'll see you next time for another edition of Bring Back the 80s.